Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I am Colin.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Dan.
Ugh, I should have expected a dumb name like that. But this is going to be the start of a almost 3-part episode series of us covering Daredevil in the movie and TV medium. So why not start in honor, since Disney Plus is coming out with the new Daredevil Born Again series, which should be done, I think, next week, but it doesn't matter. We're going to start from the first attempt at a Daredevil movie, which came out in 2003 and stars everyone's favorite alcoholic, Ben Affleck. What did you guys think of Daredevil? You know what? I assume I know what you guys are going to say. Let me start with myself. I kind of like it, but I kind of hate it at the same time. I like that it's schlocky, and then there's things the movie does that I just detest with so much energy. What do you guys think?
I thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Right.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was.
So there are some things that I just absolutely hate with the movie, and it's mostly the action scenes are just pretty bad. They are very, very odd, and let's get into it. The first action sequence is young Maddie's bullies beating him up when he's blind, and it's little AJ Soprano trying to beat him up. And this movie uses too much wire works, and that it seems like a weird complaint, but this guy has no momentum. No momentum. He does a backflip and hits that guy. It's so weird.
Well, look bad too, because he didn't. There was no he didn't try to jump into it. He just stood there, arms ready, and then just did a complete 360.
Yeah, it was so odd and really just, I don't even know what to say. When I was watching that, I was like, oh my god.
What?
The movie is very dated, and I know that comes with it being from 2003, but the Raimi movies don't feel too dated compared to this. And I think it's the music choices. They used really early 2000 music that doesn't really fit with the movie at all. It's kind of weird.
It looked like, I guess whenever you see a trailer for movies in this time period, there's just a way that they're edited. I can't really articulate how they're edited, but there's a certain feel to it. And this feels exactly like a movie from the early 2000s.
Well,
that's why it's dated, right? Well, no, but like you said, the Raimi movies don't feel like that. Other movies in this time period don't feel like that. This feels like it was stuck in the year 2003. You can't really watch it in any other time period.
Yeah. Well, ignoring, what's his name? Bullseye's Nokia phone. But let's talk about, there's different versions, and I'm assuming you guys watched the theatrical cut.
Well, yeah, I'm not watching that.
I took it upon myself to watch the extended edition, which is 133 minutes long, and the theatrical cut is 103 minutes. And the biggest difference, in case anyone's wondering out there, is that there's a subplot where Matt and Foggy take on a case for a fella named Dewante Jackson, and basically it's another way of how they lead to the Kingpin being, or how Fisk is the Kingpin, and they actually do lawyer things in this subplot.
Maybe if we were a better podcast, we would have seen both versions and contrast them, but I only saw the theatrical one.
I could tell you what's in and what's not in it. So I wrote down some notes in my phone that has some of the differences, and it's Matt finds out that he finds out from Urich that the cops are corrupt in this extra case, because Matt is able to use his super hearing to detect when people are lying, but then when there's a cop testifying at stand, he hears the normal beat of a person telling the truth. But turns out that cop has a pacemaker, and that's how he's able to deceive Matt. And then blind Matt gets into the guy's car because Urich says Kingpin bankrolls the cops with expensive Mercedes, or something stupid like that. So blind Matt gets in a car and interrogates this guy and starts driving back and forth and crashing it everywhere. He handcuffs the guy, a cop's hand, to a wheel. And what else was in there? That's pretty much it. The subplot is the biggest difference, really. And I think that they said the extended cut is more violent.
Yes, because I've always seen the joke where the Kingpin snaps the neck of his goons.
Yes, that's
and people always joke saying, "Why would you work for a guy who does that?"
Yes,
because I was looking
must have
for
great
that.
benefits.
I was looking for that in the theatrical cut, and I was disappointed when that scene was not there.
The extended edition, the fight scene at the end is longer too than in the theatrical with Daredevil and Kingpin. I think in the theatrical cut, it's very choppy, where Matt shoots his little whatever that is, that grapple hook, and Kingpin like dodges it, and then he launches Daredevil into the glass. Right? Did you guys just watch this?
Yeah.
But in the extended cut, he launches the same thing, and he like falls to Kingpin's feet, and then Kingpin like chokes him, and then throws him at the glass. But this is probably going to be a little controversial, at least for myself. I kind of don't hate the Daredevil design, except the fact that it's all in leather. If it wasn't in leather, I think it would have looked okay. It's the fact that it's that 2000s aesthetic where it's like the X-Men. It's all disgusting, tight leather.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Not a fan of it. Not that I guess that everything now is body armor these days, but I feel like that kind of blends the best of like realism and the comic because you'd always make it still look colorful,
Yeah.
but the leather just did not look good.
Well, also, I like that the mask was just like its own thing. It wasn't attached to the back like how it is in the comics. So that's why.
Probably because he trouble turning his head.
That's probably what they were thinking, yeah. And I think it was hilarious, too, in the very beginning. The hilarious amount of biohazards in that one port in Hell's Kitchen.
Well, first talk about the beginning was like 20 minutes explaining how he was like a young kid, how he's blind, his dad's redemption, his dad getting killed. So I actually checked the time because I was like, this is a really long intro. Usually these intros are like, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, not too long, but this was really like, I get it, they're trying to tell you everything about this guy. I mean, if there's one positive about the movie, it's that I guess the guy really liked Daredevil because I felt like he was trying to fit everything he liked about Daredevil into the movie, all of his famous storylines and characters, but...
Who, the director?
Director, writer, whoever...
He's the same fella that did Ghost Rider. He's not good at what he does.
Well, I was trying to give a compliment by saying that I felt like they're kind of speed running the best hits of Daredevil.
Right.
Which we'll get into more later, but the point is the intro was way too long trying to give his origin story, like every little detail about him.
Yeah, and the dialogue, too, is clunky. And, yeah, the AJ Soprano trying to beat up a blind guy. Like, did no one step back and realize that that's just so stupid? Who's going to beat up a blind person?
Well, that's what I was thinking, too. Like, bullies are never as realistic in real life, and they are, obviously, as they are in movies and TV shows, but... What kind of bully wants to beat up a blind kid? I mean, It's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's too easy.
He's already been kicked down in life. He's blind.
Didn't also the one of the bully's goons, didn't he also say, like, yeah, look at his eyes, they're all messed up, really adding insult to injury?
It's like, yeah, of course he's blind. He's got, like, scars on his eyes.
He's wearing a bandage. Or I don't think he had
also
glasses on at that point.
And they probably would have made an announcement at school, one of your fellow classmates got into an accident.
I don't think they would need to make an announcement, Daniel. You just look at him, and he's walking with a cane. So what'd you guys think of some of the casting before we get back into the more weird things that the movie does? I thought Ben Affleck's okay.
I thought he was horrible.
Really? He's usually a bad actor, but I thought he was okay in this.
Well, I think...
He definitely wasn't a good Matt Murdock.
Alright. To be fair, it's hard seeing more recently the Netflix edition, and obviously this movie's dated, but it's hard to see that guy's acting, Charlie Cox's acting, and actually portraying a blind guy properly as opposed to Ben Affleck just almost going cross-eyed. And also the way he's always brooding, and I don't know. Like,
I don't think that's so much Ben Affleck, that's just what he's being told to do.
I also don't think he's necessarily a good leading man. I think he's better when he has someone who, for example, like in Good Will Hunting, when he has Matt Damon and Robin Williams to carry the load. He's a good, more side character, secondary character. I think he just is not. I feel like he's another actor that kind of plays himself. He has a niche, if you will.
No, I disagree. I thought he was honestly just fine. What's the problem is everything else is weighing him down. It's not him where he's just abysmal in the movie. It's everything else is just terrible, and that's why I kind of like it. It's like schlocky, and I love it.
I'm going to go and disagree with Colin, as you disagree with Daniel.
Oh.
He wasn't as bad. Like it felt like he was more like a Batman, right? He's good as the superhero, but the civilian, he was awful. Like him trying to be a blind lawyer, he made no attempt to hide his identity or pretend to be blind. Like he was, honestly, like what makes this guy blind except for his walking stick? He was running around catching stuff. He was like saying to Foggy, hey, there's a beautiful woman walking in. Like, how would you know that you're blind?
Because he can smell it, Greg. He can sniff the perfume.
He's a dog.
The L'Oreal perfume.
Also, he's fighting Elektra. He's supposed to be blind.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Were those kids around?
Yeah, that was terrible. Again, that's like that weird combination of wire work and I don't know, because I guess in the movie's logic is that they established in the beginning that he hears noises. It creates a radar sense. So I guess that's how he's able. He's blind, but not really. He's blind by appearance, but he's
No,
not really
that's how,
blind.
yes, that's how the powers work, but he's made no attempt to be a human. He's basically Daredevil wearing the Matt Murdock skin as opposed
Well,
to the other way
Craig, in
around.
the extended edition, there was a scene where they're trying to get sympathy points from the court, and Matt like crashes into a bunch of things, and Foggy gets up. He's like, "All right, Matt, come over here. Blind lawyer over here. Come on." And then they quip. They're like, and Matt says, "Was that too much? Was that too much? Were they watching?"
I mean, it felt he was in the theatrical cut, but the point is, I don't think he did a good job. Because even when they were talking to the Kingpin later on in the movie, there was no subtlety. You know, he wasn't trying to lawyer his way out, like trying to
Yeah.
say what he wants to say without actually saying it.
Well,
I will-
again,
He
that's
outright
not
says-
attributed,
I also
not
think,
attributed to Affleck. That's
but
just
I will
Affleck's
say
perspective.
Affleck did not portray being blind well at all. I mean, physically, his version of blind was just staring at the person's forehead. That's how you'll get through every scene.
See, I think you guys are attributing too much hate on it. I mean, listen, I don't like. I think he's a scumbag. I don't like Ben
It's
Affleck.
not necessarily hate as opposed comparing
think
him
that's
to
hate.
other people who have
Well,
portrayed
no.
blind people, because Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman played a blind person very well. It's just acting skill. I just think for the physical part of him being blind, he didn't do it well.
I disagree. I thought it was fine. It's
I know what you're
There
saying.
were
You're
times-
trying to blame the writers and the.
Listen,
I am.
the movie,
He didn't help.
but he also did not stand out. I can't say he was good in this movie. He's not the. I would say the only person that I was not annoyed by or thought wasn't bad was Foggy. I thought he was the only kind of decent person in this, decent actor in this, I should say, or character I didn't mind. But I'm just comparing someone his ability to act blind, comparing it to Charlie Cox, who did the new Daredevil, and other actors like Al Pacino in other movies where they played blind people and they actually look like they're blind. He's just staring there with like a dumb look on his face.
maybe that's what Ben Affleck thinks blind people are.
Could be.
Because in the Netflix one,
We're
huge
not
part
talking.
of the,
All right, hold on. We're not talking about the Netflix. Just keep it on the movie. Why you don't like
But I'm
it?
saying,
I think it's
but
unfair.
we're also talking about Murdoch as a character. If you're going to
Yeah, don't
portray a
compare it to the
Murdoch
Netflix.
he's also charismatic, and
Well, I guess in that regard, yeah, they wanted to make him more brooding, and they tried to create him more, I guess, tragic.
I just
But
there
he's
were
just
there were
depressing.
points for me in this in watching this. There were points where I was laughing, especially when he's in the confessional and someone's talking to him, and he just has that blank stare on his face. His eyes aren't moving around or anything. He just
He also has no facial expressions either.
Yeah.
Because even I know you say don't compare it to other blind actors that we've seen. Like at least you can kind of see their face emote. His face was not moving. Like
Craig, you've
It's
seen
just weird.
you've seen Scent of a Woman, right? Al
yes.
Pacino plays the blind guy.
Well,
His eyes move in that, but his face moves. It still acts.
Well, you're comparing an Oscar-winning actor to a schmuck.
You're defending him, but no,
I
Yeah,
just said, I just said he's not that bad in the movie. I thought he was all right. That's all I was saying.
I
I
just
don't
think
know. Well,
one
it
of
sounds
the
like you're
big
playing
things you have to
defense.
capture about a character.
I think I've
and he
always
didn't do
made
it well.
throughout this whole podcast. I think I've always made fun of Ben Affleck whenever I could, and I thought he was fine in this. I always make jokes at his expense, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah,
Like
why are you defending him now? Of all the times to attack him, this is the perfect avenue to attack
This is
him.
no, there's more to attack.
This is the low
on.
point of his career.
No, I think the
Well,
low
maybe it
point
was
is-
Batman.
Well, I thought he was okay in Batman too, when he wasn't
That's
killing
true.
people.
Well, he was better as Batman because that brooding is better for Batman.
Yeah, I guess that's you could say is the out of place brooding, where he's just so depressed and
With
he's hopped up on painkillers. What was it, Vicodin?
and that's where I see your point. In the direction he's given does not help, and I don't.
Yeah, that was the intention from the start. They very clearly, for whatever reason, maybe they wanted comic book movies to be dark back then.
Well, I probably guess
Besides
that's
Spider-Man,
why.
but that's what they wanted to do, and that's why I think you can't fault him too much, because he's like, yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be brooding the whole time. I can't be charismatic, or that there can't be that contrast between his lawyer life and him being a superhero. Like, I guess him brooding as a superhero is fine, whatever, but you can't be brooding all the time, man.
Well, let me quickly explain probably why they were doing that.
Yes.
One of his Daredevil's most famous runs was I think in the 80s by Frank Miller, who also wrote Batman around the same time, and that's the Batman, the
Dark
psychopath
Knight,
Batman.
right? The Dark Knight Returns or whatever.
Yes, that Zack Snyder loves. That's funny enough the same kind of Batman that's Ben Affleck played. But Daredevil's not just that Frank Miller run. He's also other versions of him. But I think they were focusing primarily on that one because that's where they pull a lot of the stories from. Or at least the story threads for this movie.
Interesting.
Visually, I'm curious if they took inspiration from the Blade trilogy. Because that did come out, I think at least 2 of the movies were out before. I think the first 2 came out before this one. Or at least the first one did. But that was very dark. Aesthetically was a very dark movie. Because in this movie, another problem I have with this is the fight scenes. I couldn't see half the time.
Well,
And I also know they do that for the CGI, to blend the CGI, but still the rest of it when
blend. It didn't blend at all.
attempt to.
We talked about that one terrible cut. So they're gonna fight. It's Daredevil meeting Bullseye for the first time, and they're running at each other. Looks fine, whatever. It's at night. Real people running, and then it cuts to this egregious, disgusting, full CGI shot where Daredevil hops on the motorcycle and kicks Bullseye's face, and then it cuts back to humans, and it's so jarring. Maybe if they were both in costumes, you could get away with it, but because Bullseye has a bald head, he just sticks out like a sore thumb. It looked terrible.
He was another part of this movie. I had no idea what they were thinking
He
with
was
him.
so weird, and he was so bad. I loved it. He just grunts half the time. He barely talks. I like how he took it personal when he missed. He was very mad.
Oh, well, that was funny too. That's the reason why he wanted to get back at Daredevil. Yeah, sure, the job was finished, but it's like he made me miss.
Yeah.
This one's for free, or whatever he said.
Well, what made me laugh unintentionally was when, at the end, I don't know how the sniper could see through the church windows, those stained glass windows. I don't know how they could see through it, but obviously we know Matt grabs the thing, the bullet goes through Bullseye's hands, and he's begging for mercy. He's like, "Have mercy, please!" And with no hesitation, Daredevil just grabs him and throws him out the window. Could have killed him. With the clunky dialogue in this very quote-unquote script.
Bullseye.
I don't understand the whole arc they try to have with Matt not being the bad guy when he was doing some very bad guy things where he hits that Joe Quesada guy on the legs, and he watches him. Doesn't even help him. He watches this guy get split in half by a train. Good guys don't watch people get killed, Matt. What is wrong with you? And he was genuinely shocked, and that kid was scared of him. Like, yeah, I'd be pretty scared of you too. You're just beating up people and killing people.
Well, then he goes to the priest asking for, like, basically a hall pass to go commit more crimes.
Don't forget, after he watches a grown man get split in half by a train, he takes gasoline and does an insignia in the middle of the...
Could you imagine he has like a little pouch that he has to set up? He's doing the D. Oh, he messed up. He's got to wipe it down. He's got to do it again. How did the Ben guy even know to do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between Daredevil and Batman. Batman did that in The Dark Knight Rises. He was pouring gasoline on the tower.
I would love to see what they do when they're fleeing a scene of a crime. All these superheroes.
I would love to see the POV of someone coming down trying to catch a late train, and they just see someone in a red leather suit dousing gasoline.
It'll be funny though. It's from his back, so they think he's peeing everywhere. They just see the back of his suit just moving the...
Like Ghost Rider.
Yeah, well, oh god.
It's like a flamethrower.
I don't know why they had tried to have that characteristic. He has to prove he's not the bad guy. Well, he could prove it very easily by, again, not watching people die where you could help. And you coldly say to them, "That's not heaven, that's the C train." What is wrong with you? That's something a psychopath does. See, those are the unintentionally funny parts of the movie that I love. That's so funny.
Because it's like watching people get killed.
No, it's... The movie is trying to be really deep, but they're completely missing the point of what they're trying to accomplish. You don't have him doubt if he's a bad guy or not, and then when he's doing, like, evil things... I mean, listen... I know I said not to compare to the Netflix, but I've seen clips of the Netflix one. He's not that much better, where he drops... it's like Batman. Like the Batman video games where... they're beaten up, they're unconscious, but at what cost? Like, you're essentially killing them.
No, the joke is always, "I won't kill you, but the hospital bills will."
Yeah. I think in the Netflix series, doesn't he drop a fire hydrant on a guy's head down like 20 stories or 10 stories in a building? Like
Yeah, a couple flight of stairs.
yeah, you kill that guy. That guy's dead. But that's enough about that. What'd you guys think of Kingpin?
A lot of people seem to think he's like the greatest version of Kingpin ever, and he's all right.
He looks like Kingpin with how jacked he is. Guy's
Well, yeah,
huge.
definitely looks more like Kingpin because the Kingpin in the Netflix show, he's just fat. The Kingpin's supposed to be, he looks fat, but he's really jacked underneath.
Well, in the comics,
Like this is mass.
He's like an 8 foot tall human.
With
He's
a tiny head.
he's like disgustingly disproportionate in the comics.
Oh, have you ever seen the Kingpin from the Spider-Verse?
Yes, yes. That's what I was thinking about too.
How people were like, how does he wipe? He can't get his
He's just like this disgusting creature.
Like
Yeah.
it's just so comic. I know it's a stylized, but just funny how like it's not even close to like any more realistic.
Oh my God.
proportion. How does he
Well,
wipe?
he's like 10 feet tall in that movie. He's huge. Spider-Man.
I thought this
But the
Kingpin
Mets.
felt something out of a Saturday morning cartoon. He seemed very comically evil. He's always laughing, and Elektra's dad, when he said the king, like, "Oh, what are you insinuating?" He says, "Nothing. Just wanted to say goodbye." And he's like laughing, handing him the rose. He seemed very comically evil,
Well,
I
especially
love
handing
that,
the
yeah.
rose. Isn't that some I don't know some Italian thing where they give someone the
Like a
rose?
mafia.
Yeah.
He doesn't look Italian.
Well, you know what I mean. Like that stereotypical. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I know. How did that guy not know Elektra's dad? The way he was just acting.
Yeah,
I
he's like
mean-
the dumbest guy alive. Like you've been
Yeah.
working for this guy for how long, and you don't know he's going to kill you?
You don't know that he kills other people.
Yeah. Well, not only that, like you don't know he's going to kill you. Like the way he's acting, like it's not normal.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not normal, the terrible first date with Elektra and Matt was. I know we gently talked about that, but when I said there's stuff in this movie I just absolutely hate. I hate that whatever that sequence where they're fighting in front of a bunch of kids and it's terrible wire work. It's so weird. It's so awkward. I don't know how
It's
people.
funny. She asks him, "Are you actually blind?" And I think that's a legitimate question because
Yeah.
he's obviously not blind in that scene.
Oh yeah, but first off, why would you even try to find a blind person, like a
Well, that's yeah.
legitimate blind person? But I don't know who on set was looking at the monitors and thought that looked good. That looked terrible, and I'm sure it looked terrible in 2003.
No man, it's really cool. Like it's
No,
like a love fight.
again, the stupid any scene with Elektra where she's doing something is just so comically terrible.
and the jarring green eye contact lens she wears.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
It's
it does.
distracting. It's distracting.
Doesn't she have green eyes in the? It doesn't matter. The terrible scene where she's preparing to fight Daredevil and she has all these bags of sand coming down with the Evanescence song playing, "Bring Me to Life." Oh,
Wake Me
That
yeah.
that felt like a music video for that song.
Yes, it was so bad, and you want to be that guy where they think about the logistics of the scene, but she had to set up all those sandbags just to destroy them. Is she gonna clean it up later? Well, she dies, but I don't know. It's such a goofy scene. It's so weird. It does not match at all this brooding tone that they established, and then she's doing this weird thing with all these sandbags.
I mean, honest, I thought it was hilarious the "Wake Me Up Inside" stuff because
All
that
the memes.
I remember there were so many memes about that song.
There's the one with Goofy where he sings it.
Wake me up inside. I can't wake up, wake me up inside. Save me, call my name and save me from the noise.
Yeah, the Goofy and like that was very late 2000s. I would always hear. I think it was in Call of Duty, wasn't it, or the Zombies?
There was not. No, the song was nowhere. No,
I could have sworn it was in Zombies.
no.
Well, point is, it felt like a throwback, and I can't take that song seriously. It's not the movie's fault for that one, but I would trouble taking that song seriously.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's so weird. It's a weird song choice, too, at that scene. I don't know. It was so weird. Bizarre, even.
Well, it came out around the time, so I was probably trying to
But
capitalize on
there are
pop
other
culture.
ways you can do that instead of these sandbags just falling down randomly and Elektra cuts them all. They could just have her suiting up and maybe just throwing stuff far distance at a drawing of Daredevil. That's fine. But the stupid sandbags was a little too much. Just silly.
I just looked up. Apparently, I also thought the same thing. Other people thought the same thing. Apparently, it's not in Zombies.
It is not, no.
I thought it was. But
That'd be-
they have played some of their songs in Zombies.
That'd be a weird choice to have that song take.
No, because
Fighting-
the
fighting
Easter
over
egg
some wall,
songs
too,
and
yeah.
zombies.
Yeah, I think those are all original songs though. They wouldn't have this.
You never know.
What else?
Elektra, not good.
Yeah, she was not good.
Which, again, I know this movie came out last year, but I was thinking, why would they bring her back for Deadpool and Wolverine? Did they see the original Daredevil and how bad she was? Like, why would you bring her back?
And then her spin-off movie did even worse.
Yeah, I mean maybe they didn't want Ben Affleck. I don't know. I would have taken Ben Affleck over him. Maybe then they could just kill Ben Affleck there. I don't know. Who knows?
Or at the very least, brought back Ghost Rider or something. Don't bring back these schmucks.
Yeah, don't bring back
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would have preferred him over Elektra.
Yeah.
Even this version of Daredevil wasn't good.
Well, I think definitely Bullseye was. I don't know who was the worst. Maybe Elektra was the worst. Because Bullseye was just so comically bad that I kind of liked it. Or again, he grunts the whole time. He kills an old lady because she's talking too much. I don't know what they were thinking.
Well, I honestly, I liked Bullseye because of how unhinged he was.
Well, yeah, but it's just the way he looks.
And they even gave him the instead of giving him the mask where he has the actual bullet, they just we'll just tattoo the bullseye on your head.
Yeah,
Just carve it in.
Yeah,
And
he's
I guess they just
like he was out of a BDSM video.
I guess they didn't care about his origin. They just made him Irish because Colin Farrell didn't want to switch up his accent.
I see that stuff. I just don't.
Is that actually
I
his
don't
accent?
care about. Yeah, he's Irish.
Colin Farrell's Irish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Irish.
Not in
Because he's in the movie. He's just a hitman. We don't need a backstory. That's fine. Doesn't matter. It's not like they're properly setting up because he's not the main villain. The main villain's Kingpin. I did kind of like Bullseye, but Elektra was pretty bad. What else?
Senior Foggy.
He was good. He wasn't really in it a lot, but he was. Yeah. John
I didn't
Favreau can riff.
I didn't like Foggy all that much, and I think it has to do with I didn't like Matt Murdock either. Like Matt Murdock, he's probably the serious, the one who's trying to I want to fight for the innocent. Foggy's the one trying to rein him back a bit. But with Matt Murdock being no subtlety, Foggy's also a good lawyer. They seem like Foggy was incompetent.
Yeah, how did they sustain a jobs as lawyers? They seem terrible lawyers. At
Well,
least
yeah,
in this
they're not
movie.
bringing in any money either.
Yeah, because he says they get paid with fish.
And Foggy just complaining the whole time. Like, and there's a balance. They're supposed to be partners. It's just Daredevil running the show, and Foggy's just whatever. I'm the incompetent goof. I'm supposed to be this comedic guy. Ho ho ho.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Well, it's not a good movie. I don't really think I'm breaking new ground here.
Yeah, there's not much else to say about this.
Oh, I never knew
Yes,
the guy who's Ben Urich. He was
Yes.
the guy from The Matrix.
Joe Pantaleone. He's from The
I don't
Sopranos
think that's how
too.
you say his name.
Is it not? What is it? Pantaleone?
He said Leone. I don't.
Oh, whatever.
I don't see an I at the end.
Joe, not Pesci. Oh, Pantaleone.
Pantaleano.
He's a cool guy. He was in The Mob of the Dead. He's talking about zombies. He was Weasel.
He was.
Yeah, he was Weasel.
Oh, well, I was thinking of Call of the Dead, one with the
No, you
ice place.
idiot. The Mob of the Dead.
Right. Yes, and it had our favorites.
Ray
I forget his
Liotta.
name. Yeah, Ray Liotta.
Yeah, they had AJ Soprano, and I forget his name in The Sopranos. Oh, Ralph Cifaretto. That's what it was. He had this terrible wig on in the show. Is there anything else to say?
Well, see,
about-
speaking of Ben Urich, I thought it
yes.
was extremely cliched. Maybe because I've seen this trope too many times, but he writes the article about how Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And then, of course, right as he finishes it, that's when he hits backspace and deletes it. Like, it's such a cliche thing. Like, who finishes something just to delete it? I mean, you probably save it and then delete it later. I know you could say it's a movie too, but it's so stupid.
No, I don't. I agree. I don't like that cliche. I agree.
Like, if you're already worried about not finishing something, you just don't finish. You don't wait to do it and then delete it. I know this is like, oh, who cares? Just a nitpick. I see it too many times in movies that it drives me crazy.
He essentially told Matt that he's going to do it. I don't even know why he even bothered going to tell him in person.
The psychopath kills people. You're gonna tell him like, I'm gonna expose your secret identity.
You want to talk about facing justice? He could have put Matt behind bars. He killed that. I mean, listen, that Casado guy wasn't a good guy. But if Matt's supposed to be this moral high ground of a superhero, you don't hit them and then watch them get run over by a train. That's all I'm saying.
It is funny because they named the guy Quesada after the Marvel editor-in-chief or some bigwig at Marvel at the time, Joe Quesada. Same name. Who's responsible, I think, for ruining Spider-Man. So,
was it a good thing he got run over by a train?
I think a lot of people have been happy if he actually get run over.
Oh my god.
But there's another thing too.
Yes.
I thought it was really funny. I know this has nothing to do with. I can't blame the movie for this, but in the beginning when Daredevil goes to that bar scene to go after the guy, they ask, "What do you want?" I think he says vengeance or
Justice.
justice, which I was laughing because he would probably said the exact same thing as Batfleck.
Justice.
He kind of was like Batman. He's brutal. Oh,
Oh yeah, but
another
it was
thing
funny
too.
because he also played Batman, so I was like, wow, that's kind of funny.
Another thing that made me chuckle was when not Daredevil, when Bullseye's at the church and he breaks all that glass and he has those shards in his hands, and then he throws all the pieces of glass in a straight line,
Oh
and
yeah.
then Matt geniusly avoids it by doing the same kind of backflip in a straight line, and he somehow avoids all of it. See,
Well,
again, that's the schlock I like. That's so stupid.
well, it's also bad because it comes a year after the first Spider-Man movie, and they had a similar scene where Green Goblin was throwing the pumpkin grenades, except Spider-Man was actually dodging them. Like, you could see him like jump and duck and
Well,
like
Craig,
actually
I
go
think this
backwards.
had a smaller budget than Spider-Man. I'm just gonna say that.
It's not about the budget. It's just one scene did the trope better.
Well, let's see. Because this movie very poorly decided to use full CG sequences for a lot of things. Yeah, this movie had a budget of 78, and Spider-Man had a budget of 139. I mean, also, yeah, Sam Raimi was just a way better director at directing action in Spider-Man than Daredevil. They treated Daredevil like this in this movie as Spider-Man, where he's slinging around. Is he like that in the comics? It looks so silly.
A little bit. He does kind of swing around, but it's obviously not Spider-Man.
Yeah, it looked so really silly. And I guess, like you said, if it's in the comics, I guess they have to include that, but I don't know.
Also, I want to confirm Joe Quesada was responsible for One More Day. It's not Brainy Day. The One More Day is the one where Peter Parker and Mary Jane break up their marriage, which annoyed a lot of fans. He did the art and helped write the stories. He's completely responsible for it. That's why people hate him. Because he was going through a divorce at the time, and of course, writers are children and insert all their personal problems into stories to work through them.
Okay.
So, well, I'm saying people, you're saying would people be upset? I don't think people would be upset.
Are there any other thoughts about Daredevil?
I have a couple more.
Yes, Cook.
One, Ben Urich finding out Daredevil's identity. I mean, the kind of the point of Matt Murdock being blind is that people would never expect him to be Daredevil. Like, who expects the disabled guy to be the superhero?
Yeah.
So the fact that he was like Matt Murdock was his like I think in the beginning of the movie he was immediately suspicious of him, which is kind of weird. And of course he finds out by taking his Billy Kane and taking it to some specialist and being able to see it's actually a walking stick. Like that was stupid.
Yeah, well, they had. I know how much he loved Kevin Smith. He must have loved that cameo by him.
Yes, great.
Yeah, that was a little odd, and it makes Matt look incredibly stupid to be using your weapon as a walking cane.
Well, he does do that in the comics. It's just that you lose it and
Oh yeah,
you
I
get
mean,
taken by some journalist.
I guess in the context of the movie, realistically, yeah, Daredevil should have picked that up, but they would have to. I guess the implication is that thing is straight into Elektra's father's chest. Imagine they just show a scene of Ben trying to get it out, or not Ben, Matt.
That's
trying to
evidence,
get it
son.
out. Yeah, and he has to like put his foot down on the dead father's chest and then like really get it out. Yeah, that just makes Matt Murdock, a lawyer, look incredibly stupid.
Oh, speaking of lawyers, wasn't the beginning of the movie he was acting like the prosecutor, right? Wasn't he going because there was looked like it was two defense attorneys arguing. He's not the prosecutor. He doesn't work for the state or the government.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know lawyer stuff, so I'm gonna take your word for it.
All right, unless I was missing
We
something.
need
Both of
Legal
them?
Eagle to watch this.
Oh
To watch
God.
Daredevil, and he can give us a breakdown as to why it's not like regular court proceedings.
But a weird almost omission was Karen Page. I mean, she's like
She's barely in the movie, yeah.
when you think of Nelson and Murdoch, she's
Well, I
the third
guess
character, the third
She
wheel.
also didn't she date both of them at some point?
Yeah, I think she married Foggy, but she's
Foggy,
also really in love with
and-
Matt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that comes down to that they're just too much in for a movie, and obviously that works a lot better for a TV show, which we see. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. Well, I'm going to, but that just you can allow more time for side characters like Karen to have more meaningful things to do,
They have things to do, just
or do her more
Be in the movie.
justice. That's probably the better word. Do her more justice because this movie's already crammed with a lot of characters.
Well, that's what I was saying before too. They covered so much. They introduced Daredevil and his origin and his father dying. They have lawyer adventures, Matt and Nelson and Murdoch. They introduce Elektra, have him fall in love with her in the movie, and kill her off within like the span of an hour, which is one of the
Yeah.
most famous Daredevil storylines when Elektra gets killed by Bullseye.
Yes.
But they rush that, and then he fights with the Kingpin. And the ending was really stupid, where he finds out his secret identity. He's like, "Well, what are you gonna do? They believe like a blind man did this?"
Yeah, Ben was taunting him. Or whatever, Matt. He's taunting him. Like, yeah, go ahead. Tell
Yeah,
the
tell a
guys at
blind man beat you.
Rikers. Yeah, that was
And
funny.
even, but it's dumb because okay, so what? You won't tell people in Rikers. He still has information. When he gets out, he's going to ruin your life, which is what he did in the comics. He will ruin your life piece by piece.
Yeah, but Matt said he'll be waiting, so he's going to be waiting
It's
and waiting and waiting. But
very prideful and foolish.
yeah, it felt like two movies worth compiled into one mess.
Which is why I say, I guess maybe the people who wrote it were fans because they seemed like they wanted to throw so much stuff in.
Yeah, streamline your story. Maybe they could have had Fisk in the background, but maybe Bullseye was the main villain. And then you could save Fisk for the second movie. That's assuming that the first movie is even successful. But yeah,
Well,
they
I
wanted the
think
best
maybe
of both worlds.
I would just cut out Elektra and focus on maybe.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Matt
Matt
needs a
couldn't.
love interest, Craig. That's probably what the guy was thinking.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, so he's very violent, and it seems like he's working out his issues. Instead of falling in love, he should be trying to maybe deal with the fact that his father died, and realize that the Kingpin killed his father, and at the end maybe not kill people, realize that's not his father would have wanted. And it's something very basic, right? Instead
Yeah.
of falling in love, and then I don't know, falling in love didn't really make him a better person. Just like, oh, you killed the woman I fell in love with for 2 seconds.
Yeah, now I'm going to kill you and throw you out a window.
Like, if you have that 20-minute opening with his father, I think the movie should end with his father.
Well, they tried to, unless that was in the theatrical cut at the end. Or not theatrical cut, extended cut, when he throws Bullseye out the window. He's on top of the old arena where his dad used to box, and then he throws a rose and he says, "This is for you, Dad." Was that not in the theatrical cut?
I'll be honest, I forgot.
Ah,
I was watching it, like half watching it.
okay. Well, I'm going to assume it is, because if the movie didn't do that, that's a real big blunder. And a movie full of
But
blunders.
but the main point I'm trying to get at is the movie was more about Elektra kind of helping him cope through his issues when it should have been his father, him trying to resolve the feelings of his father dying young and his violence.
Yeah. Well, also, what would be interesting is maybe this movie could have been a little different and not explain his origin and just start with him as Daredevil already. Because, yeah, this movie spent way too long on how he became who he is.
Well, I'm just trying to tie like
Well, I know what you're
because
saying.
I'm trying to tie like they want to focus more on I guess his origin, then go with the origin and go with his dad. Because Elektra feels more like sequel territory. Introduce the main love interest if you want to kill her, make it more tragic, I guess.
Yeah, they
Just
were
okay.
speed running. They were speed running.
Should have been finding out who killed his dad.
Yeah, I agree. There's too much in this movie. Too much, and it's all not very good. Now, I guess the real question is, unless you guys have any other final thoughts, where does this rank amongst the pantheon of superhero movies?
This is pretty low.
Oh yeah.
This
I think
is
I think I would put this over both Ghost Rider movies. I thought those are just trash.
the first Ghost Rider is easily better than this.
Really? I disagree.
That also might be because I personally like Ghost Rider more,
It's probably
but
that.
that I felt that movie is more competent.
Oh, I thought
than
that
this.
movie was a disaster. I think both. I mean, I think we can all agree the second one's bad.
Oh, that one is
That's something
That-
else.
And
yeah.
there's Fan Four Stick, which this is definitely better than. It's not better than any of the X-Men movies, really. Besides maybe Dark Phoenix, but not the first three. Definitely not. Even X3 is better than this. What else? Yeah, Spider-Man
Yeah,
3 is a lot better than this. What, Craig?
Spider-Man 3 gets way too much hate.
Yes.
Spider-Man 3 is it's not as good as the first two, but it's really good. People
Well, I wouldn't say
Like
it's
the-
really good. It's good.
it's good. Well, people like to say I remember when it came out, it was, it's the worst thing ever. It's worse than I don't know, whatever you could think of it, people would say it's in the bottom tier. Like you don't want to be Spider-Man 3. With stuff that comes out now, you'd wish you were as good as Spider-Man 3. Like that Captain America 4 movie, oof, it wished it was Spider-Man 3. But with all these movies that come out, these old movies, I like to ask, what would you have done for a sequel? Because they kind of sped around a lot of famous stories. There was
yeah, I don't know.
Origin,
I don't know
Kingpin
Daredevil
stuff,
too much.
Electro.
He kind of
I think
checks all
this-
those boxes off in this movie. He checks off a lot.
I think the perfect sequel would have been Bullseye comes in, kills Elektra. Or
That's assuming you're a sequel off of this final product.
Yeah, man, sequel off this one.
Yeah.
Off this?
Yeah, I have no idea. Theoretically speaking, I don't know who could you pull out of the Daredevil bin of villains.
He has some villains, but a lot of them are crime related, or it all ties back to Kingpin. Unless you'd
Yeah.
want to go into the supernatural stuff, like what Elektra did and fight the Hand.
No, I don't think that would work. It clearly didn't work the first time they did it.
But like, who else would you fight besides other
They,
goons and crime people?
I don't know. It'd be really
especially
funny
in,
if there was a
especially
sequel.
in an isolated universe.
It'd been funny if they in a sequel it was a straight court drama. There wasn't any Daredevil antics. It's just Matt going to court trying to defend somebody for like 2 hours. That would have been funny. But yeah, the movie, as you said, it's sped run everything, so they didn't leave a lot open, at least anything compelling. And I'm assuming they would have brought the same team back, and it just would have been a mess again. So yeah, it's good that they did not do a sequel.
Somehow
The only
they,
other how he
they
fights
re-
Hammerhead. Oh, actually, we have the rights to Hammerhead Woody.
Is he Spider-Man, I'm assuming?
Yeah, he might be only Spider-Man.
Maybe they pull out an X-Men villain. That's 20th, Fox.
True.
Maybe he fights Toad or something. I don't know.
Fights Arcade.
Purple Man, Punisher, maybe.
Oh, Punisher. That was like the obvious one.
Oh,
But did they ever have the rights to Punisher? Was that
I don't know who
Didn't
distributed.
didn't they release a Punisher movie not long after Daredevil?
Might have been before.
It was
It
with
was
Thomas
after.
Jane. He did that. I think it was 04 or 05.
was
it didn't
it?
come out. It was 04, yeah.
But I think Marvel. It says Marvel produced it.
Yeah, they probably didn't have the rights for Daredevil. Didn't have the right, whatever. 20th Century Fox didn't have the rights.
Yeah, that would have been I guess, an obvious.
No.
So, Colin, do you think this is still better than Thor: Love and Thunder?
Oh yeah, easily. Oh my god.
Is Thor: Love and Thunder, you think, honestly the worst?
Oh yeah,
Product.
it's one of them easily because it seemed like that movie was such a deliberate attempt to be awful, and it was unbearable, it was annoying, it was every negative thing I could think of. It was the worst thing I've seen in a long time. Because at least the other movies they tried. This movie, it was a deliberate sabotage. Or Thor: Love and Thunder was a deliberate sabotage. That movie was just terrible. This is the most
Thanks,
expensive
Bit.
parody movie I've ever seen. Anything else to say about
I don't know, man.
2003? Craig, got any final thoughts?
I think I'm surprised. Okay, this didn't get a sequel, but it got a spin-off, which is usually only for successful movies. So it's very shocking it got a spin-off, and I don't think I want to ever cover Elektra.
No, I don't think we'll ever will. No, yeah, it's not very good, and it's bad. Everything is bad, but I kind of like some of the terrible things in it, only because, like I said, it's schlocky and it's unintentionally funny at points, and I got a couple good laughs during this movie, so that counts something in my books.
Lucky you.
Well, we'll be covering Daredevil Season 1, and then the episode after that will be Daredevil Born Again Season 1. So a lot of Daredevil to be looking forward to. So with all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
Uh-huh.
And I'm the Dan without fear.
Oh, God, you're such a clown. We will see you next week.